Today was the strangest day in the history of MAGA because Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation from Congress marks a clear fracturing of the movement that Donald Trump will not be able to put back together. And why? One, because he is historically unpopular. Two, because he is politically weak. And three, because he's in cognitive decline. All Donald Trump wants is flattery. It is why Zohran Mamdani was able to go into the Oval Office today, charm Trump, completely disarm him, and then humiliate him. And with all of that in mind, you would think to yourself, how will the White House respond to this? And Karoline Leavitt tried her best and failed, in which she imploded on air as all hell is broken loose. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into the collapse that Leavitt had on air, I want to start with Marjorie Taylor Greene's announcement and the most important point she made about Donald Trump right here.
And I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well.
What Marjorie Taylor Greene is clearly saying is that Donald Trump only has intimidation left, and his intimidation isn't working. Now, sure, he wanted to ruin Marjorie Taylor Greene's political career. He wanted to drive her out of the party, and so if that was his only objective, sure, he won. But did he really? Marjorie Taylor Greene's public image, for worse in my opinion, has been significantly improved from Donald Trump's attacks on her, which obviously she's going to leverage in a campaign against him. Marjorie Taylor Greene has a ton of time on her hands now and only one person to go after, and that is Donald Trump, because that will make the most noise, and the noise is what Marjorie Taylor Greene is after. And while Marjorie tries to fracture the MAGA base by attacking Donald Trump, the time that Trump spent with Zohran Mamdani today has done plenty of work to fracture the MAGA base as well. It's what Karoline Leavitt had to defend, but before we get into that, I want to start with the moment in which Trump really just sold all of MAGA out, and now they're freaking out.
Yeah, okay, how about you? Go ahead, please.
You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to. You used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. You know, he may have different views, but in many ways, you know, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on.
Following the meeting in the Oval Office, MAGA was losing their minds, with Laura Loomer asking, what will Elise Stefanik campaign on now because the GOP cannot go after Zohran's policies? Another prominent MAGA influencer said, disrespect communists. Loomer also wrote, wild to allow a jihadist communist to stand behind the president's desk in the Oval Office, sad to see. Not only was Trump effectively disarmed by Zohran Mamdani, but he disarmed all of the talking points of MAGA. All we heard from the right is how excited they were about Zohran because they said that he would frame his evil socialist policies of wanting children to be taken care of, people to be fed and housed, and I don't know, the bus to run on time, that they were going to use that against Democrats, that we were going to be framed in that evil light. Donald Trump just co-signed all of Zohran's policies, and they will be successful. So MAGA is losing their mind, and Karoline Leavitt then had to get on air and defend what has just been a complete clusterfuck today. And do you think she was able to? No, not at all. And you can tell because she started by defending Donald Trump and how he hasn't changed his mind on socialism first.
Well, look, I think today's meeting between the president and the mayor-elect was a good first step to introduce themselves to one another and to hopefully have a good working relationship moving forward. But again, it doesn't mean, Sean, that President Trump is ever going to change his values. And we know, and the president knows, and the American people know, that ultimately President Trump's policies work and capitalism works. And if you
Karoline Leavitt was instructed to do one thing, and that is damage control. Why this clip to me, although she didn't mention her, obviously relates to Marjorie Taylor Greene is because Karoline Leavitt is defending the fact that Donald Trump is now not a democratic socialist. She didn't get up and instantly criticize Zoran Mamdani. She didn't say that Donald Trump hates him and that he's going to rain hellfire upon New York City. She had to get on air and say that Donald Trump hasn't changed his mind, because those questions are now being asked in the MAGA base. Now, of course, Donald Trump is not going to have some three ghosts visit him in the night, Scrooge from the Christmas Carol, moment of moral clarity in which he decides we need Medicare for all and it's time to start fighting climate change. No, Donald Trump isn't going to do that. But as someone who has spent time with Zoran Mamdani, he is a charming guy. He is the most charming guy, I'd actually say. So it's no surprise that Donald Trump, who loves good-looking, media-savvy people, instantly fell in love with him. And so what Karoline Leavitt was doing on TV tonight, again, was not defending this administration, was not defending its policies, even though she kind of did in the next clip that we're going to look at. She was imploding on air, realizing that the new enemy is not the lies that she has to spin to beat off the truth. The enemy is no longer the truth for Karoline Leavitt. The enemy is keeping MAGA together. That is what she has discovered on air tonight. That is what Karoline Leavitt's fate is to try to hold this very fractured coalition together. And I promise you, Karoline, you're not going to be able to get it done. It's just not going to happen. And my God, am I going to take such pleasure in watching her freak out again and again and again as Donald Trump becomes weaker and weaker and weaker and Dems keep winning and winning and winning. Are you tired of it yet? Because I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, sports fans, I am not. I am enjoying the winning. I am enjoying watching them lose and lose their minds and try to defend it too. Listen to Karoline Leavitt talking about the big, beautiful bill, which, by the way, isn't about Bubba, apparently.
If you look at the cost of everyday items, they are going down. And again, they will continue to because of President Trump's economic formula. And then, of course, tax cuts. That is President Trump's bread and butter issue, as one may say. Look at the one big, beautiful bill. He already got that done within 6 months in office. And the American people, including in New York, especially in New York, are going to see the fruits of that labor next year when there is more money back in their pockets, when they are keeping more of their hard-earned paychecks to catch up on bills and to pay for everyday's life expenses. So
Karoline Leavitt tasked with getting on air and wrapping her hands around a fracturing, splintering, exploding MAGA coalition. And then they said, here's a little cherry on top, Karoline. Pretend that people like our budget. Pretend that people like our policies. Pretend that they like our agenda. That's not the case. People are a really big fan of President Trump's agenda. They're in a state of utter collapse. They're collapsing. Trying to pretend like anyone in New York City, a city that voted for Zoran Mamdani, who ran the best campaign on fighting for real affordability, fighting to make people's lives easier, not easier, but to bring dignity to them. You're telling me those people were so focused on affordability because Donald Trump's policies have made their life more affordable? Karoline, it's the opposite. They just don't get it, though. They just don't get it. Again, I am going to have a blast. I'm going to just be dancing all the time. We're going to have fun on this show. I think we might do like Margarita Tuesday at this point. I don't want to start going like I'm going to start kicking the feet up and chilling. Like if you ever click on one of these videos and I got like sunglasses on and I'm just kicking it, be like, Jack, snap out of it. But we are going to take some pleasure in watching these people implode. Believe me, I'm certainly going to. Especially because Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be doing it for us. But I'd like a caveat on this. I'd like a caveat on the Marjorie Taylor Greene parade, all right? There have been Republicans, maybe like an Adam Kinzinger, who have taken a brave stand. And they've done that despite their career, right? Adam Kinzinger could have just gone along and he would have been fine. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she changed directions, she changed her pace, she changed her positions when she knew there wasn't something more. Now, she could have been in Congress, she could have been crazy, she could have been whatever. But she wasn't going to be able to run for governor or Senate. She wasn't included in the Trump administration. There were emails, phone calls, and text messages released of Marjorie Taylor Greene complaining, listen to this, that she wasn't in the cabinet. Marjorie Taylor Greene, space lasers lady, wasn't in the cabinet. Now, I know Kristi Noem shot her dog, and Pete Hegseth's the drunk, and he's in the cabinet, so it's not like the standards are up here. But that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted, and when she realized that she wasn't going to get it, then she changed her tune. It had nothing to do with health care. It had nothing to do with the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's criminal, disgusting abuse. It had everything to do with Marjorie Taylor Greene and her feelings. Oh, do you hear that? Oh, it's the feelings parade. Oh, no. Oh, not the feelings. That's it. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene is about. She is about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And so as much as we will revel, and there will be some reveling, there will be, quite frankly, there will be so much reveling, and we love to revel. I'm not going to buy her big bag of bullshit. And I'm very glad that someone who I actually have some differences with as a Democrat, Jake Auchincloss, said this about Marjorie Taylor Greene tonight.
In the last couple weeks or so, she's become kind of an ally on some issues. What do you make of this?
No, John, she hasn't. I just heard
Not on
David
the Epstein
Axelrod
files?
describe her. She's an outrage entrepreneur, and she will seek out whatever the hot button issue of the day is. And when I hear David Axelrod describe her as, quote, a formidable character in public life, to me it says nothing about her, and it says everything about the state of our public life.
Now, I have usually seen some of the more, I will call them centrist Democrats. I don't want to throw everybody under the bus and say corporate Democrats. A lot of them are corporate Democrats. Be a little quicker to wrap their arms around Marjorie Taylor Greene. I've not loved that. I think AOC saying that she's just doing this for herself has always been bang on. But Jake fucking knocked it out of the park with that answer. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a part of this party. I'm not going to act like she's a normal person. None of us should. I'm going to keep calling her out. And if you want to support that, I feel like we've had a fun episode. As always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video if you stuck around at the end. Drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.